Saturday morning, the Experts program kicking off here on Power Talk Radio, and Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, is with us. Hello, Luis.
Hello, Mark. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. So I see a story from CNET, and I've seen this in other places the last month, but electricity bills in California are going to be changing. Soon they're going to be based on income. And what is PG&E and all the rest of the utilities being forced to do by the state of California? Because this is not something that the utilities initiated on their own. This is more of a government mandate that they're responding to.
Yeah, and this is actually, if you dig deeper into it, it's a consequence of the explosive growth of solar panel systems in California as more affluent and wealthy people jump on the solar bandwagon. You know, they're more likely to be able to afford it and more likely to be able to take advantage of the tax credits and all the other benefits of it. What that's meant is that they are paying less and less into the system, if you will, to support the infrastructure. Because if you're like me, my electric bill really, when you look at it by the end of the year, all in is maybe somewhere around $300 to $400 because of the solar offsets that I get. Compare that to somebody who doesn't have solar and is paying close to double, or, in many cases, 3 or 4 times that. And most of those folks tend to be lower income. So, of course, California, who's always interested in balancing the needs of the less fortunate with the money of the more affluent, has decided that they should change the way that for electricity work so that people with higher incomes will pay more and folks with lower incomes will pay less. So basically changing it from a usage-based system to an income-based system.
Really? So then someone would, if you're a higher income person, you really wouldn't have any sort of incentive to economize or be frugal with your power usage, right? You might as well just run stuff because you're going to pay a lot more anyway. And then if you're a poorer person, because you're going to be subsidized, it's the same thing. What would be your incentive to not use as much electricity if you're being subsidized by wealthier people? So I don't know how this is. I mean, I can just see this thing backfiring in the sense that people all across the income spectrum end up using more energy than less.
Yeah, and I think that the reality is that, like all good deeds, this one too will not go unpunished. And there are going to be ramifications of creating this system. I mean, first and foremost, the legislature basically let it up to the PUC to figure out how to do all this. So how are they going to confirm our income first and foremost? I mean, what's it going to be based on? Household income, individual income, whoever is the person whose name is on the electric bill? So you can start seeing people gaming that and doing things like, okay, well, I'm going to put the electric bill under my kid's name, and he's not making any money, so we're going to get those lower rates. Whereas if I put it under my name, I'd be under higher rates. So that you're going to start seeing that sort of thing happen unless they come up with some sort of foolproof mechanism, which I find it hard to believe. But there is really this transition that's happening, not just in California, but across the country, as the growth of home-owned solar systems starts to proliferate, that electric companies are becoming nothing more than just infrastructure companies moving power from one producer to another. And so there has to be some changes in the way that utility bills work, but I don't know if this is the best way to do that.
The reality is, what they're trying to do is make it less expensive for low-income people to afford their electricity. But in reality, if they would remove a lot of the taxes and the surcharges and the other fees that they've larded onto our utility bills over the past 30 or 40 years, if they would take a lot of these regulatory fees and other things off that they're doing, energy would be more affordable for those it won't be more affordable for everyone, but it'd be more affordable for those at the very bottom of the scale that they supposedly are wanting to help with these schemes. I mean, really what's going on here, when you analyze it, Luis, is that government has deliberately made the cost of energy far more expensive in California than it should be, far beyond what market forces would have had it be. And so then they come up with these schemes to try and lower the prices for lower income utility users. But the one thing that seems to elude them is the idea that, well, if we removed a lot of the stuff that we're making them pay for, that we're larding on to the utilities that they have to pass on to the customers, they could actually end up passing on, they would actually have lower prices, which would accomplish the same thing without all of this rigmarole and extra bureaucracy that the state is going to impose upon people. I mean, it's stunning that this is the most elegant solution that eludes them at all times.
Yeah, it's interesting how they kind of twist themselves into these pretzels that then they have to find a way to get out of. Fortunately, I think that the mechanisms for doing this whole process is going to take some time to develop, so I don't see this being implemented anytime soon.
And I notice here that the proposed fixed rate schedule, if you look at this, if you make $28,000 a year or less and you are a ratepayer in the Southern Cal Edison or PG&E area, you're going to pay $15 a month as a base on your electrical bill. If you're in San Diego Gas and Electric, it's $24 a month, okay? And then for people between 28 and 69,000, where you'd find a lot of California workers, it's $24 for SoCal Edison, 30 for PG&E, and 34 for San Diego. And then if you get up to, say you're making between 69,000 and 180,000, it's $51 a month across the board till you get to San Diego, and then it's 73. And then if you make more than $180,000 a year, 85 for SoCal, 92 for PG&E, and $128 a month more if you're in San Diego. I'm not in that income category, but I'm not moving to San Diego.
Yeah. Well, San Diego does have the most expensive electricity rates in all the country, except for I think Hawaii.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a price to be paid for living in sunny San Diego.
Well, I think it's also the service area. San Diego Gas and Electric is a relatively small utility compared to PG&E and SoCal Edison. And I think that the higher rates reflect the fact that they have fewer ratepayers to spread those increased costs across.
Agreed. And I think that, that's one of the challenges that smaller utilities will face. And I don't know if this is necessarily going to fix that, but, it's definitely going to shake things up.
I noticed that SMUD isn't listed here. SMUD is the Sacramento Municipal Utility District. I bet those rates are going to be like San Diego's or higher.
Yeah. That's interesting. I think I'll have to ask my daughter who lives up in Sacramento what they're paying up there.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to know for a future discussion. All right. Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, joining us today for a really neat talk here about what's going to happen with our energy bills here in a few years in California. Hey, online you find them at alvareztg.com. At AlvarezTG is the Twitter handle, and Luis, the toll-free number for the I-Team.
Give us a call at 866-78-I-Team. That's 866-784-8326.